The Tokyo Toy Show is this weekend, and Thursday night Exhibitor setup has just concluded over here in Japan, and we got some early photos that have dripped out of that exhibitor room and dealer room, and we got our first look at some new and exciting Transformer product that's going to be hitting later this year and next year in 2025. There's a lot to cover this weekend, so be sure to follow us all this weekend on the Transformer Slag podcast, because we're going to have tons of future segments today, tomorrow, and moving forward. It's going to be very busy with the Tokyo Toy Show and more. So where do we begin? There's a lot of stuff that they showed here, a lot of stuff we've already talked about. They just want to have it on display so people could see it in person, live, outside of just some digital images and leaks and everything like that. But we do have some new stuff to talk about. The first one we're going to cover is the next continuation of their Dramatic Capture series, which is they take previously existing Transformer product and give it the best possible color scheme without the limitations of the price point budget, and put it out there in a little, 3-pack or whatever, and give people the best version of those molds. And our next Dramatic Capture series 3-pack here is what is called as the Dramatic Capture Series Triple Takeover, which clearly represents when Starscream finally became leader of the Decepticons in the 86 movie, was crowned King Starscream by Astrotrain, and of course he's flanked by Blitzwing there just before he meets his doom, pretty much, just to capture that dramatic moment, perfectly named. So it uses 3 previously existing leader class based figures, all with the best possible color scheme that they could probably do for them. We're going to kind of break down what's the differences here, what do you get, what's missing, and everything like that. So first you get Astrotrain. Again, this is based off of that leader class Siege one that we got all those years ago. The differences between the two, the most obvious being the removal of that Siege wear and tear and the weathering that's seen all over figures in that line. But there's not really too much of a big difference. I mean, obviously there's small little deco changes and everything that are seen in the robot mode, but it's very, very subtle. It's more of a hue change, if anything else. The biggest change that you'll really notice is when you look over at the train mode. All of the areas that were originally gray on the Siege one have been painted now purple to make it look a lot like that original character animation model of the train, and comparing it also to the toy, I guess, the original G1 1985 toy. And now, it goes beyond those limitations of that Siege version and the paint budget that it had back then for a leader class that pretty much had to rely on molded in plastic in the gray areas there. So that's kind of the biggest change between the two. There's also something, and this is going to be a common thing among all 3 of them, there's an absence of an accessory across all 3 of these with these Takara releases. And in this case, it's the coal carrier with Astrotrain. The original leader class one had a coal carrier on the back of the train mode that transformed into a launcher for the shuttle mode. It was just this little extra thing that was added there. It's absent with this one because that wasn't really something that was associated or existed with the original G1 model, the toy, the animation model, or otherwise. So they took that out of it and kind of kept that out of this here. And this is a common thing you're going to see with our other 2 guys too, something that was included with those leader class ones that are absent here, probably not only just for consistency of animation accuracy, but maybe also just to keep the cost down for the box set. Less plastic, less you have to charge. Let's continue with the next one here. Let's talk about Blitzwing. So Blitzwing has a huge coloration overhaul from top to bottom. While it's not that noticeable from the naked eye, there is just this completely different hue that matches more how the coloring was in the cartoon or the anime in Japan. It does have some different deco hits, but they're not really as noticeable. Little grays here and there that have been removed that weren't necessary to match how the animation model looked by Fleur O'Deary. Again, different hue of purple completely, even that of the cream, kind of yellowish, whatever color you want to call it, yellowish brown, light brown. Completely different from that leader class legacy figure that we got before. And when you look at the alt modes, it's even more strikingly different between the two, especially with the tank and the jet. Again, that purple is very different when used for that. And like I said before, there's an absence of something from the Western version, and that's the big Blitzwing hands. Again, that was a legacy thing. He had these big hands that could be used as boosters for the jet mode, turrets for the tank mode and big old weird Energon-y hands for the robot mode. This isn't here because, well, again, doesn't really make sense for the character because it never really was a thing. And this is in the show, and this is what it's trying to represent, the show, but more specifically that moment in the movie. And lastly, we have Starscream. So again, it's using that Studio Series 86 Leader Class Starscream. So that's the King Starscream with the big getup, the cape piece, the shoulder, the crown, all of that. I mean, it's keeping true with the set, that we got before, with all the coloring more or less being kind of the same. Obviously, this time, what's absent? It looks like they didn't include the throne, which I find interesting because that would probably be a very good piece to include with the dramatic capture piece, would be the throne being there, even if it wasn't too important. So the throne is absent there. The coloring, from what it looks like, maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like the dramatic capture version uses a much more brighter and metallic sheen as opposed to the Studio Series 86 one. Maybe it's just the lighting here in the convention, but that's what it looks like. It looks like you get more of a metallic version with this Japanese release. The only really big noticeable difference that I could really point out is in the jet mode. You can notice that there's a new deco hit on the rear rudders of the jet, so it adds a little extra detail and paint that was absent from the Western release due to probably the limitations of the budget for the leader class. But aside from that, there's not too big differences between the two. And again, with the absence of the throne, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that picked up that Studio Series 86 Starscream when it was on deep clearance for $15. And if they picked it up for that and it got the throne and the paint deco is more or less comparable between the two, no doubt you're probably just fine with that one. And you'd really have to look at the other two if you really want to purchase this 3-pack, the triple takeover 3-pack here. But otherwise, still pretty cool. Again, I feel that we're going to get better versions of these triple changers probably in the future at some point in a Studio Series 86 kind of nature. And this is just a classic case of Takara and or Hasbro just trying to get one more push of these molds before they retire them and move on to something else. And that's going to be kind of a common thing in a lot of stuff here, because we got another one here. We got the Transformers 40th Bump of Chicken Bass. Bump of Chicken is this Japanese rock band. They've done collaborations with Takara in the past. 5 years ago, we had, during Titan's Return, we had the Bump of Chicken Bumble or Bumblebee, which was like a blue repaint, and that was a little collab they did with them. And now we're going to be getting another one here for the 40th, and I guess they really like working with them. The Bump of Chicken Bass, probably Bass Convoy, maybe, taking that Earthrise Leader Class toy, and like I just said before with the dramatic capture, taking that mold and giving it one last push in a world where now we have a Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, just trying to do something with that Leader Class Earthrise one last time before they retire it. And yeah, I mean, it's wild, that color scheme. I mean, I don't want to think that Bump of Chicken is like super deep cut hardcore fans like I am or something, but just maybe this whole thing with its wacky colors might be a deep homage to the Lucky Draw Robot Masters G1 Convoy, that one-of-one release that we got all those, like, geez, I want to say like 20 years ago with those crazy color schemes. It's a possibility, but either way, if you got the Bumblebee one and you want a companion piece for it for this wacky combo of Bump of Chicken, it's out there. It's going to be happening. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know if this is going to be a concert exclusive. Is this going to be a web exclusive? We will see in the future. We don't have much information for the time being. We'll probably learn more as the weekend continues. And the last thing, which is the big one they have here, is we got the big reveal of the companion piece. Back, I want to say like 3 months ago, we talked about MPG-09 Super Ginrai, the Masterpiece Super Ginrai, Power Master Optimus Prime for Westerners. And we now know that we're going to be getting his combiner brother, his Gatai equivalency. We're going to be getting Godbomber. And we got some in-hand, beautiful images here. And he looks absolutely amazing. Pretty articulated for something that clearly is going to be a parts former in transformation and combination. I mean, the first few attempts that we got of that character over the past, 3 decades, The original G1 toy with Master Force, the Kabaya kits through different versions, the Legends EX one that we got, and now we have this one here, which I feel is really going to be the apex of this character. Play on Apex armor, wink wink. But will be the apex of this character as MPG-14 Godbomber, and looks really good. Looks really, really good. I love that they're keeping true to the show, and even the original like Legends EX Sakamoto version by giving as a bonus with this that you're going to be getting these static little minifigures of the Headmaster Juniors and Shuta, Cab, and Minerva. So that's pretty cool too. I don't know if they're going to store in God Bomber's alt mode or in the God Ginrai chest compartment, but we'll see. Maybe they'll include some extra stuff. Maybe there's some other extras we're not seeing here right now, but really cool. And speaking of God Ginrai or God Ginrai, his combiner mode, we only have one image right now of that final combined mode, and it's just the press booth image that we have here. But dude looks big, beefy, massive, and huge. He looks great. And I am loving it. Master Force is like in my like top 3 of favorite Transformer series. So this just looks really good. I love it. I wonder how large he's going to stack up next to like the old Masterpiece Starsaber that we got all those years ago. I mean, that was no tiny Masterpiece, that Starsaber. So I'm really curious how big he's going to be with the God Ginrai armor and everything on it. Maybe one day, dare I say, we'll get the Victory Leo for the Starsaber when that HasLab Victory Saber is in the distance and forgotten memory, and then they could do that. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. Again, reminder, the MPG-09 Super Ginrai, that's going to be shipping out December 2024, so that's not too far away. And that's going to be 4,600 yen. And then the MPG-14 Godbomber, that has a release date for June 2025 next year. And we don't have a price yet. Suggested retail has not been announced yet, but stay tuned for that here on the podcast. We will keep you posted with that. That's it more or less right now. There's more stuff still being set up. And of course, there's going to also be some, at convention exclusives that are going to be revealed. There's going to be a whole bunch of other stuff. Again, this is just the evening Thursday exhibitor setup. It's already been concluded. There's going to be obviously some early Friday morning setup too, some extras and everything, some more goodies. We're going to have the big Transformers, Synergex, Macross, and the Capcom Monster Hunter crossover reveal with Transformers. That's going to be happening at the show, so stay tuned for that. We're going to have that too later this weekend. Better looks of all the other products, probably more information, panels, who knows, but we will see as always. Again, stay tuned to the Transformer Slag podcast this weekend, and we'll keep you posted, educated, entertained, and informed about everything that's going on in our amazing hobby and this weekend at the Tokyo Toy Show. Thank you for listening, and as always, I'll talk to you in the near future.